Okay, it's fresh set of downs. Bruce Badgley, Dave Micah. Uh, we'll see who shows up throughout the night here, and just another great week of action, Dave. Here in the eastern, half of PA, that's for sure.
Hmm.
And wow, here we go. I mean, can you imagine that we've only got like 3 weeks remaining in the regular season?
Hard to believe, but we're not surprised. I mean, it goes so quick. We just a few weeks ago, like, okay, we're halfway through the regular season. I mean, some teams are gonna wrap up their regular season this weekend, and
Sure.
start doing some district playoffs. So, we'll get into that in another 2, 3 weeks. And then it's basically all district and Eastern Conference and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the really interesting part, is the whole Eastern Conference aspect too. We not only have the PIAA items, but we've got, the Eastern Conference stuff too. So I think that, the teams and we're just kind of lucky to the effect that, we've got so many different options that we can, take a look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Eastern Conference, listen, back in the day it was a big deal, but when, the PIAA said, listen, you can't go through Eastern Conference, you have to go through districts. Well, that kind of hurt the Eastern Conference. But what it does is it gives teams another week, maybe two, but I think it's just 1 week now, to play a game, and maybe you have a young team. I know in District 11, a couple teams that, the year before played in the Eastern Conference kind of did pretty good the next year. So, nothing wrong with giving kids the opportunity. I mean, whether it's Eastern Conference, you're going to see some contingency games. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good too. And so many times I've seen, as you touched on, so many times we've seen teams that use the Eastern Conference as a leapfrog to, get some young players, some great experience. And, it's another opportunity, quite honestly, for a team to actually win their final game of the season. And there's
Yeah.
not too many teams that really, have that luxury that as well. And don't forget, we've got live chat available out there for the fans that are watching. So let's get this party started, Dave. I will pull up our presentation here, and we'll get some sharing going, and off we go. So we want to thank everybody for joining us this week, and had some really interesting games here last week. To I tell you what, um, start things off with Manheim Township and Cedar Crest. Manheim Township, um, basically just kind of reloading. They lost an awful lot from that team that, um, fell just a little bit short in District 3 last year. But this year, just doing an excellent job once again. They win 38-13 over a Cedar Crest team that was really, a contender, I thought, for the Lancaster Lebanon League Section 1 championship. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I agree. And our reporter Andy Herr was at this game, and just seeing some of his tweets, Mannheim was laying the lumber in this one, and Just on the defensive side, they are really they really go at the ball and they'll put a hit on you. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like they've missed a beat. They graduated some tremendous players. Their quarterback from last year is now at Lehigh, and he's been playing somewhat there. And um, yeah, I mean, Manheim Townships is all about reloading.
Yeah, Mark Evans just does an incredible job at Manheim Township. That's for sure. Another game in your neck of the woods with obviously ramifications. Freedom remaining undefeated by beating Bethlehem Catholic.
Yeah, and this was a game that it was a little sloppy in the first half. Freedom just seemed to be a little off in their passing game. Just missing passes that they would normally make. But the second half, they decided to run the ball, establish that, and that kind of opened up the passing game. And then Chase Walker was able to throw the ball. They were running the ball, but the story of the game was Aaron beat two
Yeah.
touchdowns the second half to lead Freedom. And listen, Freedom has shown they are right now the best team big school wise in the Lehigh Valley and in District 11, but they have two tough opponents at the end, and that's Easton and then Liberty in the annual Saturday Battle of the Band game. And I think Easton and Liberty are actually playing this week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens from that.
CB South won their first District 1 championship last year, and they've not looked back. I mean, they've just kind of built on that to an undefeated season so far. Really great defensive effort in beating North Penn here this week, 14-6.
Yeah, and this game was all about defense. CB South, they could beat you by scoring a lot, or they could beat you by, okay, this is going to be a defensive game and where, maybe one touchdown or two matters. They could beat you so many different ways. And um, they again another team that really hasn't missed a beat from last year.
And how about this game between Danville and Mount Carmel, back and forth? Danville trailed in the fourth quarter, comes back. I mean, they jumped out in front. Mount Carmel came back. Danville trailed in the fourth quarter. They come back and then come out with a 22-19 win.
Yeah, and this was another game that we covered, and you're right. I mean, it was back and forth. Mount Carmel led at halftime. But Danville comes right back. Bo Sheptok, a big run for a score in the third quarter. And then Sheptok again, his touchdown run with, I think, under 2 minutes to go in the game was the difference. And listen, I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams meet again down the road. But Danville clearly is showing why they are arguably the best team in District 4 this year.
We're hoping to have Bob on this week. He still may join us here for the show, but LaSalle, I mean, what do you say? 35-34 in four overtimes. Just an incredible game. The ebbs and flows of this game were just incredible. And it was scoreless at half, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, you had a tale of two games. If you love a defensive battle, well, you love the first half. If you like offense, you definitely like the second half and
The
four
drama, I
overtimes.
mean,
And
incredible.
you know what was incredible about this game? So the third overtime, so LaSalle kicks the field goal. Prep kicks the field goal. So now Prep has the ball. So they score. So they go up. And, at that point, one play, Sidewar hits Joey O'Brien in the corner for the touchdown. And they decided, you know what, enough of this overtime. It's either we win it or lose it. And listen, Sidewar made a tremendous play. He ended up just kind of throwing a little touch pass that got tipped
Yeah,
by
it
the
was kind of
prep
like
player,
fake. Yeah.
and the receiver kind of falling down caught the 2-point conversion. And with everyone there, at first we weren't sure, did he catch it, did he not, but he did. And listen, a great win. And we talked about this last week. I know, listen, Joe's, he he
He
talks a
lives,
lot
eats,
about prep,
breathes.
but I we were saying, listen, LaSalle has closed the gap, and in coach's first year, he's done a tremendous job. Listen, this is a great win for the regular season, but we all know in about 4 weeks this is going to be a
Yeah.
rematch. Can you beat Prep twice in 1 year? It is not easy, and that is going to be a tough matchup because the last time Prep or LaSalle beat Prep in the regular season, I think Prep won pretty
Hmm.
handily in that rematch.
Yep.
And listen, sitting there waiting is Emotep. So we'll see.
District 12 is got so much drama, so many storylines in multiple classifications. When you throw in Bonner, who, a 4A team playing all these guys, Roman Catholic, 5A, and then LaSalle, St. Joe Prep, and then Imhotep battling it out for 6A out of District 12. There's just some incredible stories that are coming out of District 12 this year, and nobody's really talking about anything other than that. I think clearly some fantastic stories coming out of District 12. You're muted, Dave. You're muted. There you go.
There we go. So everyone's talking about, prep as, rightly so. Now LaSalle, they're talking, Roman Catholic, you have Bonner, Emotep. I mean, there's some pretty good programs down there with a lot of Division I talent. And um, it's gonna be interesting to see how District 12 does this year when it comes to states.
Yeah.
Obviously, three of the teams, only one could come out in 6A. Two pretty good programs are going to be, watching from the sidelines eventually, and we'll see.
I couldn't agree more, Dave. I think that the storylines I think coming out of District 12 are the fact that it's just another district this year. Okay, it's not. You don't have the Goliath now of St. Joe Prep. They are human. They can be beaten. Um, and I think that there was just this collective sigh of relief across the state of Pennsylvania that that there are that everybody in 6A may have a shot here. Now, granted, LaSalle kind of put a stake down in the center of the field by handling Harrisburg pretty good week one on Harrisburg's home turf, but um yeah, I think the collective sigh is like the 6A tournament's wide open this year. What do you think?
Yeah, and listen, I think Harrisburg, if they were playing LaSalle later in the year, I think they would love that matchup because, listen, what, like 4 days prior to that game, they find out, their quarterbacks ineligible. I think we're kind of preparing for it, but still, it's not easy. And, LaSalle just jumped all over them and never looked back. But I think that Harrisburg team is getting better and better each week. And I think when districts come, they're going to make some noise.
Yeah, we're gonna take a tour around the power rankings, ours, and then the different districts here in a couple of minutes. And then quickly, Penn State coming out on top over UCLA. Um, Without Nick Singleton,
Yeah.
they had their worst rushing yardage item. I mean, what it showed, Penn State playing through adversity and really relying on, that high percentage football that they've been playing this year to carry him through. Quite honestly, it wasn't this close. It was a late touchdown by UCLA with
Yeah.
under a minute to go. And, Penn State, very methodical, very confident. Um, they're going to have their hands full at USC this upcoming week. But I think, playing through some adversity early like this, I think was pretty good for Penn State. And, it's going to be very interesting, the rest of the way. That is for sure. What do you think?
So, what was the story on why he didn't play? Did you ever get that,
I
or
did
is it
not.
out there?
And it hasn't been, at least through the mainstream media.
Hmm.
It hasn't really gotten out there. And as
Yeah.
far as why, it's just like, well, we're waiting. They expected him to, the way that Coach Franklin said, they expected him to have him on Thursday. They expected to have him on Friday. He warmed up on Saturday. They expected to have him and he couldn't go, but they didn't say why.
Mm.
And so, college football a lot different than the NFL,
So,
and
and they're ranked fourth. Are they a fourth ranked team right now? Or is it just the number game right now?
I think it's the numbers game. Look, I mean, credit where credit is due. The stat got out there, the fact that, you know, they're one of only four teams in FBS to go 5-0 the last four straight years. Okay. So
Hmm.
give Penn State some credit
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
that. And I think they're playing a very high percentage brand of football. Um, and so yeah, I think that it's in comparison, boy, I mean, on paper, are they? Well, no. When you look at them statistically in the FBS, they're very middle of the road in just about every statistic. So
Yeah.
nothing really stands out. So that's the tough part.
Well, the most important thing is a win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a W.
That's all that
No, look,
matters.
exactly. Just like nobody's going to remember that Bowling Green game, a month from now. know?
It's like
Uh,
my Washington Commander team, four and
yeah,
one. It's all
that's
about
right.
wins.
That's right. It's all about wins. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and continue on with our power rankings here. And we'll start with 1 and 2A. These are the teams that we all like. And quite honestly, I don't think that there was any change
Mm-mm.
in the 1 to 2A power rankings. Um, and that between
I
last
mean,
week.
the only change for me in my top 10 for the first time in a long time, Southern Columbia dropped
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Back-to-back losses, they're 3-4. Um, yeah, I mean, that's first time in a long time.
It is not the usual suspects in
Yeah.
1A and 2A, in the Eastern PA football. That is for sure. But that doesn't mean to say that, we aren't going to have some great games, coming
Oh,
down the stretch.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And in 3A, 4A, well, this is where the conversation can begin, because and it'll all get weeded out here. I'm still pretty high on Danville. Not that that I'm not a fan of Bonner because I am. I have him at number three. Both you and Bob have Bonner at number one,
Hmm.
and rightfully so. I've got Twin Valley in there. We all have Twin Valley in our rankings. It's where it's all going to shape out. But remember, I think something will change here this week because Twin Valley and Wyomissing play, and
Yeah,
that's going to kind of shake things out a little bit. What do you think?
yeah, no, I agree. I think that's definitely gonna shake things up. It's gonna be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. But listen, rankings are good. But again, I always say you want to be number one at the end of the year. Okay. These are all good programs on this list. I mean, Bonner's beat some pretty good teams. They have LaSalle coming up. And listen, even if they have a hiccup against LaSalle, you're talking about a very good 6A program versus a 4A program. Bonner has some tough matchups. They still got, I think, LaSalle and Prep, on their schedule. So, um, we'll see what shakes there. And Danville showed, like I said, I think they're clearly, you know, the top team in District 4 this year. Pope John Paul, again, consistency. Um, they're just right there. Twin Valley. I really like what Coach is doing,
Yeah, Coach Myers.
um, and we will have them on at some point. Didn't work out this week. And then Northwestern Lehigh, a team that I think, has a lot of goals and would like to get back to Cumberland Valley. So,
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And in 5A, 6A, really all of us just kind of flip-flopped. We still have, LaSalle, St. Joe Prep, and it's just the fact that LaSalle won, that's why they're number one, and St. Joe Prep's number two. Um,
yeah, and I know Bob has Malvern Prep and it's a team that like Harrisburg and Malvern Prep are just knocking on the door to get in my top 10 rankings. It's just those teams are winning. And, every week it's not many teams are losing. But, again, I think these rankings were all shake out at the end. And, yeah, I mean, that top three you really look at it, it's like only one of those programs is gonna move on to districts. It's
yeah, that's what
incredible to think.
it is incredible to think. And um, so yeah, so why don't we just move on to some of the kind of regional um,
Hmm.
power rankings because ultimately these are what's going to set the stage for the tournaments that we've got here. So I'm going to adjust this thing a little bit here. We'll get this full screen, and you can see that now full screen, right, Dave?
Yeah, if you just go up and down.
Yeah, correct. I will. I just wanted to make sure that think I got that full screen there. I still
Yeah.
had the one item there a little bit, but all right. But in a 6A, you can see that my gosh, CB South and Downingtown West. Wow, pretty easy to see. They're number one and two there in the District One 6A power ranking. North Penn, Perk
Yeah.
Valley, CB West. Um, Anything strike you a little bit? Now they're going to take the top 16 here, so that's going to go all the way down to Pennsbury.
Well, what's interesting is, I look at the bottom of the bracket
Me too.
because every year it's either a 14th 15th. Sometimes there's been a 16th seed has knocked off the higher seed. And obviously Springford losing their quarterback has, hurt them, but they're still a very good program. Maybe like a team like Coatesville,
I was thinking the
that's
same thing. I
that
mean,
that that's in Plymouth Whitemarsh, they're playing good. We're actually going to cover their game this week, but yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of especially District 1 or yeah, District 1 6A. There's so many teams that at some point there's going to be quote unquote an upset, based off seedings.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, and still, if you look at the mosh pit, look at all the 3 and 4 teams that are vying for those last couple of playoff spots. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, 8 teams that are three and
Yeah.
four that really have a legitimate stake at getting into the tournament there. So wow, I mean, a lot riding, forgetting about even the top stuff, in getting in, and all you want to do is get in, right, Dave?
Yeah, I mean that's the bottom line is get in, and especially maybe for a younger team, get another week or two of football. But yeah, I mean the goals, to make districts and set yourself up to succeed there.
All right, Lance Dean's ready to join us, Dave. So I'm going to bring Lance in. I stopped the
Okay.
share, and this is Lance Dean, head coach, CD, the undefeated CD East.
Yeah.
Hey, Lance, how
Hey.
are you? You're
I'm
there. You go. Now you're
I'm
unmuted.
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Good. How you
Boy, I
doing,
tell you
Coach?
what. Thanks so much. I mean, you had practice until 7:30 tonight, so he
Yeah,
rushes over to his office to get on the show. Thanks, man. I appreciate
yeah.
it.
No, no, of course, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Wow. I
Absolutely.
mean, uh, undefeated start to the season.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Um, Talk a little bit about how that momentum, because you've had some close calls too. I mean, this hasn't
Yeah,
been easy, and it's never easy in the Commonwealth, is it?
for sure. Absolutely not. I think we play in the toughest conference in the entire state. I may be biased with that, but that's something I truly believe. But no, our kids have worked extremely hard all season, starting with our winter, then transitioning into the spring, and just finding ways to finish games, finding ways to be able to expect to win, hold each other accountable. Those are all like minor things, that I think has helped pour into just the brotherhood that we got where guys are playing for each other and not playing for themselves essentially.
And looking at your schedule, again, congratulations so far this season. But your second half of your schedule is really, really tough. I mean, you beat Cumberland Valley, you just beat crosstown rival Central Dauphin. State College is next, and then McDevitt and Harrisburg. Whew, that's you're right. I mean, when you talk about your league and the teams you're playing in your division, that it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Like with us, like obviously, we're not worried about McDevitt. We're not worried about
yeah, yeah,
Harrisburg.
yeah, yeah. You
Uh,
worry
you know,
about
we'll play those teams and we'll focus on those teams when we play them. They're great teams and they're well coached. But at the same time, we've had this 1-0 mindset, since we've been started. So nothing's
Mhm.
nothing's our focus but State College. We've been hearing about the way we finished the schedule since midway through the season, and I don't think we win some of those games if we're looking ahead with that aspect. So you know, I'm excited, man, because we're back. I said this to our kids now earlier. Um, we're back to the part where we're counted out again. Like we were counted out earlier in the season. We weren't expected. We weren't in many conversations for whatever reason. Win a couple games. Have people jumping on the bandwagon or coming with energy. Now it's tagged with but they haven't played this team or but they haven't played that team, and that's okay. Everybody's
Hmm.
entitled to their own opinion. But we're just focused and we're just happy to be able to compete 1 week at a time. So like I said, we're back to like we're playing State College, and that's where our focus is, man. Just 100%
Hmm.
on that, and just wanting to go 1-0 again. So being where our
Yep.
feet is and focusing on that, as cliche as it's been, as it sounds, it's been our motto all year.
And that's where I'll be too. I mean, I'm actually broadcasting the game for Penn Live Friday, so I'll see you there on the field. I mean, should
Yeah.
be a lot of fun. But you obviously you focus one game at a time
Mhm.
from a planning perspective. But what are some of the things that you as a coach have to take into account for the long haul, for the fact that you are playing such a killer schedule
Yeah.
and that you want to play in November? What are some of the things that you and your coaching staff does, with the players, both mentally and physically, to keep them through this season fresh?
We're getting to the point now where we're trying to dial back some of our practices as far as how long we're on the field. We have a lot of kids that play both ways, so we're just trying to be efficient with our work, where we're not on the field too long, but we're being efficient with the work that we do. Some walkthrough periods and some high intensity stuff. Where that's challenging when you're dealing with kids, because now you're asking them to maintain their focus essentially. But Coach Pollard, who's our running back coach, and helps with the safeties as well. He made a great point as far as we just got to be able to do the simple things better. And normally those boring things are the things that are important. When you're walking through the special team periods or the plays of concerns, those type of things. Where we're slowing it down from a rep aspect, but just learning how to practice. And I think that comes with this maturity. And I think we have a significantly mature group, a group that's been around. That's went through the ups and downs of what it takes to be able to compete in our conference. So, you tie in that part. We have the ice baths, we have the weight room where we're lifting. Just that, just trying to get them to get that full-time investment. I made a comment to them earlier today. Obviously, we don't have a rich kid on our team, but I told them arguably LeBron James is arguably one of the best athletes of all time. At least in that conversation, there's like he doesn't invest $1 million into his body by accident. Obviously, we don't have too many kids walking around with $1 million, but just that perception of priority, I think it takes you a long way.
And who are some of the players that have been a nice surprise for you this year?
Um,
I know.
surprise,
Well, just like that have that have kind of
right, right,
Maybe
right.
contributed.
overachieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Like
Overachieve
some of the
like
younger,
surprise. I get to
like
that.
kind of the younger guys that have,
Uh,
help.
so not that I'm like surprised over none. Our quarterback's been playing great. He's
Hmm.
been playing very efficient. He's a great leader. He's a senior. He has about like a 65% completion rate.
Oh wow.
Like I say,
And who
he's
is
leading
that?
up. Damaj Jallo, our quarterback.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's playing great ball, man. He's a very, very efficient. Our running back, obviously, our we had an all-state running back who's been injured all year, who's committed to the Delaware, and Jared Porter. So Leon
Hmm.
Parsons was a running back receiver for us, has stepped in, uh, and he has over 800 rushing yards, averaging over 8 yards a carry. He's a kid that's been playing extremely hard, and we have a great receiver core. Defensively, we have a good group, and I think the most underrated group is our line. When you're able to, run the ball like we've been able to do most weeks, and to be able to stop the run like we've been able to do most weeks, we have some high profile guys and the divas on the back, and that gets all the attention. And a lot of times, those guys up front that are doing a lot of the trench work, they're often overlooked, man. So, like, I I've been extremely proud of this group up front, man. They're able to run through the wall for the guys behind them and be able to stop the run. So, just the sacrifice our entire offense and defensive line has made from day one. We wouldn't be in this position without them, and we can't get to where we want to get without them guys.
Wow, incredible. So, what do you expect Coach Lintal to throw at you, this Friday?
What's that? I can't hear. What do I expect? Did you
Yeah,
say
what
what
do
I
you expect? What do you expect Matt to throw at you this Friday?
State College?
Yeah.
Well, they're well coached. I think they're going to stick to what they do. You know, they take their shots on the back end, try to establish the run game. So like I said, I expect them to do what they've been doing. I'm sure they throw a few curveballs here and there, but like I said, they're well coached, they're disciplined, and they're physical. So I think that alone gives them the confidence to continue to do what's gotten them some success over the years. So like I said, um, I expect them to kind of stick to that philosophy as far as to trying to out physical teams at the point of attack. Get some pressure and eye candy up front defensively, and then offensively when they have the opportunity, take their shots and convert on the back end.
Wow, that it's pretty incredible. Look, the I knew you had a very good team. I mean, Dave knows. I mean, you've been in my power ranking, my top five power ranking in
Yeah,
Eastern PA for the last few weeks here. So this isn't news to me. It
Gotcha.
may be
Appreciate
news
that.
to the rest of the state, but I tell you what, Lance, it's been a pleasure. Over the last few years, we've gotten to know one another. You've been doing a great job there at CD East. You're kind of like the somebody who's coming in, not one of the
Yeah.
big names, like the Cumberland Valleys and what have you, but you're there. You're positioned for a championship, and that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Just 1 week at a time.
Well, good.
absolutely.
Lance, I tell you what, thanks for jumping on. I mean, right after practice and
Yes, sir.
everything, getting ready for a big game, man. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the field on Friday.
Yes, sir. Look forward to seeing you, man.
All right. Take care,
Good
Lance.
luck,
Just go ahead and
coach.
exit out then, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take
Yep,
care
take it
now.
easy. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Lance D. Really
Yeah.
great guy.
He's doing a tremendous job with that program, and listen, they are set up to get into districts, and maybe we could look at the District 3
Yeah, we will
standings.
here in a second.
But yeah, I mean he's doing a trip, and like he touched on, their star running back
They've
has
been
been
doing it without
out,
their star running back.
and yet they've rallied this team and did nothing but excel. So hats off. He obviously is working with the younger kids and giving them opportunities, and it's just next man up.
It has been a pleasure to watch since Lance has taken over that program. And I see him a lot in the off season, see him in 7-on-7 stuff. And now, this year, obviously, and I talked about the fact of, they're not, hey, who's typically getting the headlines there? Let's be real. Okay. The Harrisburgs, the McDevitt's,
Hmm.
the Central Dolphins, the Cumberland Valleys of the world, even State College. And
Yeah.
then, along comes CD East and they position themselves to win the Commonwealth. And it is a brutal 3-game stretch, starting with State College this week, Bishop McDevitt next week, Harrisburg the following week. Two of those
Yeah.
3 games I'll be broadcasting, thankfully. So for Penn Live, but that's it's going to be a lot of fun on Friday. That is for sure. So, all right. Well, why don't we get back to just a jam-packed show here? Let's get back and let's finish District 1. So we're going on the 5A side here. And you can see that okay, right, Dave?
Yeah, I can see it
Yeah.
fine.
Um, that big Garnet Valley Strathaven game really kind of um dictated, the top there, Westchester Ruston. Pretty much the usual suspects. I'm actually going to be over at Unionville on Thursday for a game with Kennett. So I got a broadcast gig with that. So I'll be able to see Unionville there a
Hmm.
little bit. Kennett just on the outside looking in. So that's good. An important game for both teams there. The shocking thing is that 6-1 Chester's number 10. What is up with that? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it must it's the teams, their schedule, who they played, and
Imhotep, I mean,
um,
is
well, they did play Emotep, but here, let me grab their schedule and we'll see. So, looking at their schedule, um, they played 6A Perkiomen Valley, then 4A West Philly, 6A,
yeah, that
obviously
hurt the
MLTAP,
4A, yeah.
which they lost. But then, 3A Bartram, they played a team out of their area from DC, and then Chichester, who's 5A like them.
Hmm.
So, the only game, and this actually could hurt them points wise, is their last game they had to pick someone up and they picked up 1A Belmont Charter School, which I don't think is going to help them
Yeah, no.
with the points. So we'll see. Boy, that would be um
Yeah, be,
surprising if they can't make it in.
and the reason I say that is playing them on their home field on a Saturday morning. I mean, that is a huge home field advantage for Chester,
Yeah,
and it's always an early, it's always like a 10, 11 o'clock game on a Saturday morning,
11
man. And
o'clock. Yeah.
yeah, so always good stuff. That's why it's like at a number 10 seed, I don't think that gets them a home game in the postseason.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I know I was the other day working on the brackets, so I would have to kind of bring them up, but yeah, I mean and the last three games against 4A, 5A and 1A. So obviously, they have a good chance to win out, but point
Yeah, is it going to
wise,
be enough?
yeah, I mean they're probably hoping that some of those teams start losing ahead of them.
Sure, sure. um Pope John Paul II, their only
Yep.
loss was to, I believe, Westchester Ruston.
Yes,
um
in a close
Yeah, and
matchup.
Shanahan plays against Downingtown West this week. We'll talk about that game in a couple minutes. But wow, I mean, these 4A teams here, the tough part is that they're really playing tough schedule. The good thing is that they're playing really tough schedules that are going to prepare them for the PNAA.
Yeah, I mean, clearly in 4A, it's those three programs, Shanahan, Springfield, Monaco, and Pope John Paul. You still have to slightly favor Pope John Paul in this, but that Shanahan team's pretty good
Yeah.
too.
We'll find out how good this week, and we'll
Yeah,
talk about that game in a few minutes. It's 2A, and then a couple of 1As there as
yeah, and
well.
they're more,
So
in the inter district playoffs when it starts.
all right, let's go to something near and dear to your heart, which is um the District 11
Two,
2
4, 11.
4. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
4 11 here. And Lackawanna Trail, team that you can see that, okay, can't you?
Yep.
Lackawanna Trail is in our rankings there. They look pretty good, but nobody's been talking about Nativity.
Yeah, I mean they just cracked my top 10 in the small school rankings. They're quietly having a good year and but I still think Lackawanna Trail's the team to beat out of that 1A bracket.
Williams Valley, Schuylkill Haven, um, the we've been talking about them really for most of the year. Um, and Minersville had a quick start, but they're kind of falling back into the pack there. But looks like Williams Valley and Schuylkill Haven definitely are going to get in.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean I like Schuylkill Haven. Right now I give them the edge in that district bracket.
Yeah, and that's two
But
A,
we
I
still have
believe.
3 weeks to decide all this.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
a
On the
lot can
4A
happen.
side, yeah, Southern Lehigh, Blue Mountain. I mean, it's great to do the dive on the power rankings because we get to see some of these other teams that are having really good seasons.
Yeah, I mean, this, you look at Becca and ACC. ACC is down this year. But Becca, listen, they play a lot of 6A programs in District 11, so you can't really go by their record. I think they'll be in the mix when it's all said and done. But whether it's going to be Southern Lehigh, Blue Mountain, it all depends on the seedings. Because if you look at it now, it would be Becca versus Blue Mountain and Southern Lehigh, Allentown Central Catholic. So,
Yeah,
so we'll see.
we will see. And then, yeah, I'm surprised that let's see, 6A must be off to the right here, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
which there we are.
5A, all the schools are going to make it. So,
Yep. And on 6A side there, Freedom, Easton, Liberty, Parkland. I think they only take four, right?
no, it's I think 8. No, I think it's 8.
Eight. Okay.
Yes.
Eight of the 11. Wow.
Yeah. So if you
So,
look at this right now, there's no District 2 or 4 teams. Um, and you have Strasburg hanging in there at 8th, where Dariff, who plays in a tough league with Parkland in them, um, is 9th, kind of knocking on the door. But um, I have a feeling that the 8 you see is the 8 is probably what you're going to see in 3 weeks.
yeah.
Listen, teams may move up, move down because, like I told you, Easton Liberty play this week. Then down the road after that, then you have Freedom playing Easton. And then Freedom the last week plays Liberty.
Yeah.
So, and Parkland's just going to sit there, probably run, win out. Could they somehow sneak up to that 2 spot, maybe 1 spot, depending on some teams a loss here and there. But clearly, Freedom has shown they are the best 6A team in District 11 this year
Yeah,
so far.
absolutely. And look, it's going to be completely interesting. Um, as we get into the, actual tournament there. And so let's take a look at District 3. You can see that okay, Dave, can't you?
Yep, it's fine.
So 1A there, Delone Catholic and York Catholic will probably play for the District 3 1A title.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because Fairfield is, I think they canceled their season.
they did, yeah, because of
Yeah,
numbers
so
there.
so it's just those 2 teams.
A team that nobody's talking about this year and is Steel High at 5 and
Yeah,
2, moving up to 2A. Obviously with Southern Columbia now out of the mix, at least as being a prohibitive favorite in winning a state championship. Here you got Steel High looming, and nobody's really been talking about them too much, have they?
yeah. I mean, they just re-entered my small school rankings. They play in a tough league. They play teams that are, bigger than them. And, I know for years, Penn Live, it was, you know, McDevitt, Steel High. It's interesting. I haven't seen much on Steel High this year. And obviously, they graduated the Irbies and some key players from that team, but they're clearly still a pretty good team. And yeah, they're playing double A and let's see what they could do at the double A level.
Triple A, Bermudian Springs having a great season.
Yeah.
Um, and Trinity as well. They've had a fantastic year as well. I'll actually be broadcasting their game with Susquehanna Township next
Mm.
week for a league championship there in the mid pen. And but I think it's wide open. I think six teams make it in District 3 from 3A. Let me see. I can scroll up and see where that is. Let's see. Yeah, six teams make it from 3A. So right now, even down to Big Spring, would make the postseason. So good for them.
Yeah, and Trinity's a great
4A,
story. Well, I was just gonna
it
say,
is.
they some of the kids left the program when when coach ended up
Yeah, the
resigning.
quarterback and Mickens
Um,
both left.
yeah, going to Harrisburg and but they're putting a
Not
good
missing a
season
beat.
together.
I did their game earlier this year with East Pennsboro, and they were just incredible.
Yeah,
Um, and they've got a great running game, very talented kids out there. They're going to give some people fits in the postseason. I can tell you that. And Trinity is in a conference with 4 and 5A schools,
yeah,
and they're going to be playing for a league championship. So
yeah, it's
um,
incredible.
in 4A, LS, Wyomissing, Twin Valley, I think they're all three in the top 10 in the state, and they're
Yeah,
all in the District 3 4A. In fact, they're all in the same league in the Lancaster Lebanon League. I mean, they're in
yeah,
Section 4 of the Lancaster Lebanon League. So, I mean, there's a lot riding on this round robin going down the stretch here of LS and Wyomissing and Twin Valley playing one another. Um, going to be very entertaining. I do want to talk about West York, though. All right. No one has talked about the fact that West York was 0-10 last year,
true.
and now they're 6-1, likely to make the playoffs. That's incredible. I cannot remember a team that has gone winless, and the type of turnaround that for West York is just been incredible.
And in that area for coach of the year for, that league, that division, he has to be up there. To turn
In
that program around.
in
Wow.
1 year like that,
Wow.
incredible, incredible.
Yeah.
Um, so Susquehanna Township in there, very talented team. Eastern York, another team that has historically struggled. That's having a great season so far. 4A in District 3. Wow. I mean, it doesn't get any more entertaining than that, Dave.
Yeah, I agree. And but whew, that top three, um, boy, that's gonna be a fun district to watch.
Yeah, it will. I mean, it really is going to be interesting. Let's go to a 5A in District 3. There are 5 teams undefeated. Are you kidding me this late in the season? Um, New Oxford is quite honestly the usual suspect now in 5A in District 3. They were the number 1 seed going into the tournament last year. Unfortunately, lost their first game. But Shippensburg, Mechanicsburg, just
Yeah.
playing outstanding football. Conrad Weiser, Conestoga Valley, and actually Exeter Township is undefeated. So there are 6 teams undefeated in 5A in District 3. That's off the charts. And
Yeah.
we didn't talk about the fact you got Bishop McDevitt in there.
Yeah, I mean, 5A for them now, and they have their record-setting quarterback that listen, this kid knows how to win a state title. He's been there a couple times, and I think he would love to get back and try to win another one his senior year.
And I do that Whitfield podcast with our buddy Ian, and there's one league out there that's really stacked with Upper St. Clair and
Mm,
Peters and whatever like that.
yeah, Peters
I mean,
Township.
now
Yeah.
all these teams are not all in the same division, but I'm just telling you, that is 5A is just a minefield in District 3 this year. So and they take, I think, 14 teams. And I tell you what, I did the Lower Dauphin game on Friday. It's a very talented team as well, all the way down with that. And I talked to a lot of these coaches, and sometimes they just throw up their hands. They're going, "What do we got to do here
Yeah,
to win?" And it's the competition is just incredible, and the quality of football just been fantastic.
absolutely.
So, and 6A, Manheim Township on top, right on their heels there. Lance Dean and Central Dauphin East right now. Um, Look at there. Wilson, Harrisburg, Central York, Dallastown, who's having a great season. And then it kind of falls off pretty quickly. Um, and that in 6A in the district. Now, I believe that they do take 10 teams. So that's interesting. But really, the top six, is just a treasure trove of talent. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, preseason everyone was talking about Harrisburg and they could compete against Prep maybe this year and but there's some talented teams. We had Coach on from Central Dauphin East who's having a great year without their star running back. That says a lot about their coaching staff and those kids. And Manheim Township again graduate some all-state caliber players, but yet just reload and here we are 7-0 going into this week. A lot of talent there in District 3.
The kind of numbers that Maddox Gruber, the quarterback of Wilson, is
Oof.
putting up is just
On both sides.
incredible. Right, exactly.
He's
I
a
mean,
great defensive player.
and
So,
yeah, just enormous depth of talent in District 3, in 4A, 5A, and 6A. Wow. I mean,
absolutely.
it's just crazy stuff there. And that. So that's the tour of the power rankings. Wow, that's always fun, Dave. I mean, we're talking about a ton of teams here.
Yeah, and listen, when regular season winds down, probably our Tuesday
Jeez.
show afterwards will be dedicated to each district. We'll try to get reporters on from each district to come on and kind of chat about the teams that are in there and we'll break down all the districts and um maybe we'll have our picks and we'll see how we all do. So,
Yeah. Wow. I know. Right. It shifts from kind of Eastern to really then taking a look at you know uh, each individual league there. So let's get back into our presentation here, and
mm,
we want to talk about some of these milestones that some of
yeah,
these each particular week. Holy cow! With
again, a lot of
Logan
them.
Rocky from Schuylkill Valley. Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean, most passing yards in the career he now holds. breaking the previous record of 3,743 yards. Most touchdowns in a game passing with five. So he set two records. And then Chester, Darian Harris set three school records. He became the new school or new career touchdown receiver leader with 21. Uh, Breaking Dominic Toy, a good player from a few years ago, with 19. And then on the defensive side, he got his 16th interception. So he set that record. And oh, by the way, he also owns a record for special teams with touchdowns with four. So this kid's not only doing it on offense, he's doing it on defense and special teams.
That's
Truly,
pretty incredible.
that is pretty incredible when you really think about that this kid has exceeded, has really done a tremendous job at all three levels of football. Boy, you gotta tip your hat on that one.
And Minersville Logan Hutsko broke the career receiving touchdown record. Um, Minersville again making the program.
Yeah, I mean the previous record was 16 by Gabe Davis and back in 2019 season, and Jarrett Graff back in the like 2018-21 season there. And now he has 17 and counting. So these are some of the records and milestones that were achieved this past week. And listen, if you have any records and milestones that you've done, let us know and we'll add you to this list.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so top performers, we did have an addition, but
Yeah.
it's a duplicate. Matt Bodner, right?
Yeah, he actually kind of knocked himself out at the fifth spot, but he
He's
ended
up in
up
four.
his 446 yards passing is now fourth best so far this year. And if he's not over 3,000 yards passing, and I have to look at his stats, he's pretty darn close. So this kid is this with three games to go, you never know. I mean, this kid's going to be over 3,000 yards passing, trying to hit that 4,000 yard mark this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having a great season.
He really is.
Um, some of the top rushers there, we did have Caleb Snyder from Upper Dauphin with 337 yards. Added bumped into fifth. Cam Small from Muhlenberg, who's
Yeah.
having
I
a
think,
whale of a season as well, with
and that might have been a
346.
record,
Yeah, it
I
was a
think.
record.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, uh, these guys are really lighting it up at carrying the rock. That is for sure. Um,
absolutely.
and I did get to see Gabe Johnson's performance live. That was something special.
Wow.
Top performers receiving really no change from last week,
No,
right?
for past couple weeks, these guys have been top five for a good portion of the year. And we'll see. Three more weeks to go if someone could crack that top five list.
Interception, return touchdowns. Anthony Kelly from Coatesville, a
Yeah.
93 yarder, jumps up to number three.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the McDevitt kid with the 100 yards gonna be a tough one to break, but yeah. So Anthony jumps up to number three, and we'll see if anyone else could crack these top five performers.
For field goals, we had a couple additions there, Matt Miller and Noah Taylor.
Yeah. 44 and 43 yards. obviously Brady Miller, 54-yard field goal, school record, and like I said, I think that's seventh on the all-time list. Um, Incredible kick that was.
Absolutely. All right. Whew. Man, not that we haven't touched on a lot this week, but now we've got some big time games to take a look at as we go into, I don't know, week 7, week 8, whatever you want to call it, the next week of the season here. And top of the list here, why I'm missing at Twin Valley. Look, there's been a lot of beatings by why I'm missing on Twin Valley over the years. Okay. And I can tell you, I mean, I was at kind of the warm up game last week when Donegal gave up at halftime against Twin Valley. Um, what do you think about this game, Dave?
Yeah, I listen, I think this is going to be a great game. It's at Twin Valley. If you were playing at Missing, it's a tough place to play. Um, this may come down to who has the ball last. This is going to be a interesting matchup. Can Twin Valley stay unbeaten? I guess we're going to find out.
I really like. Look, there are two things. Both of these teams, I'm very familiar with. Why I'm missing plays that just high percentage brand of football. They do not beat themselves. Twin Valley, really good on offense. Evan Myers at quarterback. I mean, I told Evan to his face that he's like Mr. RPO. I mean, this guy, he's not the biggest guy in the world. Coach Myers will, um, roll him out a lot. I mean, he doesn't leave him in the pocket, and Evan will make, and he always seems to make the really good decision of whether he's going to hand it off, whether he's going to run it himself, or whether he's going to throw the ball. And he's got some
Mhm.
really good receivers and runners to complement him, and a really solid defense. Um, just incredible. And coaching on both sides, it doesn't get any better than this matchup. And I think it's going to be, first off, I think it's going to be high scoring, and I think it's going to be close. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and in your neck of the wood, Easton at Liberty.
Yeah. I mean, Easton is coming off a convincing 42-14 win. And, um, like I said, they got Liberty. Easton has Liberty, Freedom, Nazareth, and then the Thanksgiving game against Phillipsburg and Liberty. They're coming off a tough loss to Nazareth last week,
Yeah.
34-14. And their schedule, their last three games are Easton, Bethlehem Catholic, Freedom. So it doesn't get easier for them. And like I said, I think now some of these teams are playing each other. You're
Yeah.
going to see a little shift in those district ratings to see, are they going to drop? Are they going to go up? Um, we're going to find out. But I'll tell you what, I've seen both programs. Really like Easton. I think Matt Seneca has done a tremendous job. They believe in his philosophy, and that's half the battle. But there's I've said it before. I don't think there's a better atmosphere out there than playing at Easton. It's just an incredible atmosphere. I know it's at Liberty this week, but it's a tough place to play. And, it seems like, hey, Easton's back and they're going to be led by their running back, Will Day. And I always say, Will Day all day. Just hand them the ball. And, you know, I kind of like Easton in this one.
Yeah, look, I think it's a toss up. It's hard to pick hard to pick that one for sure. I tell you what, Shanahan, I mean, even though with one loss at Downingtown West just playing some really excellent football. Um, Bishop Shanahan has a tough task if they expect to take down the Whippets.
Yeah, I mean, Pope John Paul gave Shanahan the only loss 42-14. Um, I kind of like Downington West in this game to stay undefeated. They're really looking like they're the team to beat down there. But this will be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think in the end, look for Downington West to pull this win.
Yeah, I think Downingtown West might win maybe a little bit easier than what people think. And look at this, a 7-0 Lewisburg at Shamokin. And isn't this like the coal bucket game? And the Green
And I think
Dragons of
that was Mount
Lewisburg.
Carmel.
Huh?
Mount Carmel Shamokin, I think is
Oh,
that.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
But listen, Lewisburg, it's funny is my small school rankings, each week there'll be a team losing, and it always seem to be from Lewisburg
yeah.
beating them. And their running back, Jameer Davis, is over 1,000 yards rushing. Shamokin, very talented team. Um, I'll tell you what, this is gonna be a good one.
Oh man.
Um, I don't know who to pick in this game. Both are really good. Schmoken's in our rankings in the mid school rankings. Lewisburg, I'll tell you what, this one it might come down to the last play in this one.
It's
It's
just
good.
speechless. You're just speechless. You
Yeah,
just can't.
it's a good one. Yeah,
It is. It really is a
yeah.
good one, and it's a great showcase for the quality of football that's played. Up that way. And I drive through Lewisburg. When I go to the Penn State games there, so thinking about them all the time
Well,
there.
yeah, and listen, we talk about Danville as arguably, the top team in that area, but I think these two teams have something to say about that.
Yeah, and they will. They definitely will. And State College at CDE, State College's only loss on the season is to Harrisburg 7-6 at
Yeah,
Harrisburg. Um, I don't know where that score came from, but you know, Matt Lintal always has a tough team at
yeah,
State College. Obviously, we talked to Lance Dean, who is basically, got these guys motivated. They're believing in what they're doing. Granted, they're facing the tough part of the schedule. It starts with the Little Lions this week. They're at CD East, which
hmm
travel really doesn't seem to matter much in the Mid Penn. I mean, these guys travel all over the place. I mean, they go from State College to Altoona to Chambersburg. I mean,
yeah,
so this is just a short bus ride for State College. But I tell you what, I do like CD East is playing at home, playing with confidence. They've played close games. They beat their arch rival Central Dauphin in a close game
yeah.
last week. Um, and that's really going to be a hard one. But I think, quite honestly, both of these teams are going to take a leg up to a Commonwealth Championship with a victory. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think it's for CD East, it's good it's home in front of their home crowd. But you wonder, emotional game against their rivals, Central Dauphin, is there a little letdown? And I think they need to play a clean, good game against State College. Because State College, you get that one turnover against them could be the difference. So for me is look for, is there a little letdown, see how they start the game, and the turnover battle is probably what's going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's what my question was to Lance, because of going into this tough stretch of his schedule, on what he's done to keep his team fresh, because these guys they're gonna get beaten to a pulp over the next 3 weeks with these three tough games. And it starts this week with State College. It's a tough stretch. I think Lance will have those guys ready. State College, not necessarily. Usually they come in with the big behemoth lines and big guys,
Hmm.
not as big as the size wise, not the formidable linemen like they've had in years past. So that's why I kind of like CD's opportunity to win one here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And listen, I wouldn't be shocked if State College goes there and win, but I wouldn't be sh shocked if CD wins a tough, hard-fought game. But again, I think it'll come down to who wins the turnover battle and who could take advantage of that.
You're exactly right. And wow, that was a that was a big show. I mean,
Yeah.
we covered. I think that the this defines what Fresh Set of Downs is all about, and that we covered it all this week, pal. I mean, the games from last week, all the rankings that we did all across the eastern part of Pennsylvania, great coach interview, and a look ahead to some fantastic games. Um, Man, I tell you what, I'm spent, and I just sat here talking about all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think moving forward we'll try to get some more reporters in from different districts, whether it's, reporters from, our site or, a newspaper, and just kind of, tap into some of these areas and just to start getting us prepared for when districts come. But we'll have a nice district show when it's all said and done.
Yes, we will. We still have a few more weeks. I'm going to hold
Yeah,
on to the regular season as long as we
yeah,
can, because my gosh, it's just slipped through our fingers, hasn't it?
it really has. It's hard to believe that we're 3 weeks out. Um, it goes so quick, but a lot of football this week. District 1, this is the week they have a lot of Thursday games, a lot of Saturday games. So there'll be a lot of games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So tune in to the website. We'll have a lot of good stuff on there this week.
All right. Well, listen, Dave, thank you for a great show. Really appreciate everything that you do for the show, and really appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. And we want to thank Lance Dean for him to basically walk right off the practice field and join the program. So listen, thanks for watching Fresh Set It Down, presented by EasternPAFootball.com. We're back next Tuesday night at 7:30 with everything Eastern football here in the Keystone State. So for Dave Micah, I'm Bruce Badgley. See you next Tuesday.